Welcome to this week's podcast of Let's Build
with Ellen
and Dustin. So this week, Ellen, I think this might be not necessarily your top 5, but maybe your top 10.
It's my favorite touch point of the your way stuff.
There we go. You do like getting to know people, though.
I do.
So shared vision kind of falls into there, but
But this is where I start to have fun.
This is where you actually might get a little frustrated at times.
A little bit.
But at the same time, you get to have fun.
Yeah.
So what are we going to talk about that you get to have fun with? Are we going on a party?
No.
We going on a boat?
Nope.
What are we doing?
We are making selections.
That doesn't sound fun.
Oh, it is. This is the point. So any builder, you're going to have to do this.
Yep.
The way we do it, and like we talk about all the time, every builder is going to be different exactly how they do it. We talk about WASA because this is what we're familiar with.
Absolutely.
But most likely it's going to be pretty similar depending on the builder. But what we do is I've got books on books on books.
Now you're going to make me do homework and read?
No.
Okay.
I do that part.
Good.
So of all of, from light fixtures to your outlet color, to your door handles, to your siding, to your shingles, to your cabinets, to your countertops, everything. Everything that's going to go inside your home. Paint color, flooring, all of that.
Drywall edging.
Yes.
Trim.
What texture you want the walls.
Yeah.
All of that. So we're going to, before we start really that process, I'm going to kind of assign some homework. I am.
You just said there was no homework.
I'm sorry. The reading part I said no to. So I'm going to assign some homework of, what style do you like? Are you looking for that more modern? Do you want, get that kind of general idea? I usually will, look at the couple or whoever it is and say, hop on Pinterest. Let's get some ideas.
Yeah. So it's kind of it sounds like the main idea of the homework is to kind of get the clients or get people thinking about everything.
Right.
Maybe walking around their current house. Because once they come to a design studio or go somewhere, like you kind of lose sight of like what's here or there.
Absolutely.
Or, hey, this meeting's going to happen in 2 weeks. I'm going to Susie and Joe's house. I really like their kitchen. People could take pictures of it.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of like what you're thinking, like the homework kind of does in a way.
The homework just kind of gives us, so then, when you either come in or we Zoom, whatever we do is, okay, what is the general feel you're looking for?
Yeah.
Because let's just take the kitchen, for example. There's a lot of selections that happen in a kitchen.
Oh, yeah.
And if you show me a picture of your sister's kitchen that you just love, and I see, okay, it's got, kind of grayish countertops and white cabinets. It's a pretty classic kitchen these days. But I know when we're looking at cabinets, we have some cabinets that aren't paintable.
Right.
But we have a lot that are.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, I can tell you, these 5, we're not even going to look at those because that's not what you want. We can look at, if you want, we can look at them, but I'm just going to tell you right now, these can't be white. And then if you want for sure a gray countertop, or maybe you want dark counters, I'll go ahead and pull those samples so that we don't have to spend all the time in the world looking through 50 samples of countertops. Instead, you've just got to look at 10.
Yeah. I was gonna say, we're sitting in a design studio, like we do when we record a lot of the podcasts, and it's like, I'm looking at a, cabinet board that has 50 different cabinets on it.
Right.
I'm looking at countertops that there's 2 different towers, and I know that there's more boxes.
Right, in the back.
In the back. I was just thinking that, as you're talking, I'm like, so really, when somebody, when you assign me homework, if I know I want hickory, or if I know I want a darker stained cabinet,
right,
I could tell you that ahead of time, and then you could pull them, so
absolutely
save some time or save some headache.
Absolutely. And
because it can be overwhelming for people to walk in somewhere and see 100 different countertops,
right,
50 different cabinets, and they're like, what?
Yeah, and I like to think of kind of my job in the whole process is home building can be very overwhelming.
Absolutely.
And so from the first touch point we talked about with the shared vision and sitting down and getting to know you is then I go back and look at all the floor plans and send what I think is best for you.
Yep.
And stuff. Obviously, we can go beyond that.
Yeah.
But my goal is to just make it as easy and as smooth of a process. I mean, I'm sure there are people who will just walk in and go, I want white cabinets. I don't care which ones they are. And I'm not going to just pick for you. I'm going to give you 3 and go, okay, I know you don't care, but you need to pick, like, this is your home. You're going to pick these cabinets, but I'll narrow it down for you.
Yeah. And you don't want to make that choice because with, like what you said, like with Wausau and what we as individuals and owners of our, you know, custom home building side of it, one reason why we signed up with Wausau, I think, you know, as far as for me, and I think we share the same ideas, we want to remove the stress from people.
Absolutely.
We like helping people.
Absolutely.
That's why we're in real estate. We like seeing people's faces light up when they walk in. Like we show them 10 houses. They walk in that one house and they're like, oh,
this is it.
This is it.
Yeah.
We like that feeling. You know, that gives us the joy. So like going with Wausau, like you could just say, I want white. I don't care. Pick it. Like I'm not going to deal with it. Unfortunately,
there's a lot of white cabinets.
We're going to make you pick it because you got like the slatted look, you got the
full just flat look, got detail, you've got there's too many options.
You got so many different options that when people would, and we go through this all the time, we want to be people's trusted home advisors. And we also want people to be happy when they, on day 1 and on 10 years.
Right.
Know, like the 10-year
I don't want you to, every time you walk into your kitchen, go, why the frick do my cabinets look like this?
Why did Ellen pick this one?
Right.
We don't want that.
No.
Just like we want people, like their layout of the house to be what they want, how they want it. That's why everything that we do, it might seem long and drawn out in some aspects of it. I mean, we can shorten it up.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of touch points. But at the same time, that allows us to make sure that that house is built as what our first building block says.
It's your way.
Right.
Yeah. So after that homework, like you said, that homework is really just to get a general idea of the style we're going with, the feel of the home.
Yeah.
Really.
Okay.
So then from there, we already kind of started going into it, but we have what we call the home selection guide.
Yeah.
The home buyer selection guide, sorry. And that is where I have this long document that has every light fixture, every door handle, everything. And we're going to go through and select each and every one. Now, if you say, I want this same bathroom faucet in all my bathrooms, I'm not going to make you write that down. I'll go back and take care of that or whatever, but...
You're going to make me write stuff? You are being like a teacher in this.
Well, we make it easy. I write the notes, all of that.
You make the client makes the selections. You write down.
I'll fill out the document.
Yeah.
But we're gonna go through and this part of the process really can take as quick or as long as the home buyer decides it's going to.
I was gonna say, like, if you're thinking like I'm picking out every drawer pull, every cabinet pull, every door handle, every like all that, every door and thing, like a person, not that they could potentially have a different door pull on every single cabinet.
Absolutely.
A different door on every single door of the bedroom. So, I mean, it can be overwhelming when someone thinks, we got to pick out everything in the house.
Right. And
how long do you see the process taking?
I mean,
or how long should it take? Like, if somebody walks into somebody else's studio or somebody else's like building, and they're like, okay, here's the document, pick what you want. Here's a couple catalogs.
I mean, really, we kind of joke about it, but I think there's some seriousness too. If somebody wanted to come into our studio, I mean, I'm not opposed to blocking out 5-6 hours.
Yeah.
We order food in, we've got snacks and stuff, and we crank that thing out.
Right. But it could also be like somebody has like plans,
after work,
they come in for an hour and we work on like one room at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I think you could have it all done in a week.
Yeah.
If that.
I mean, it does take time. And if people have a general idea what they want, I would say on average, they're probably looking at 4 to 6 hours.
Yeah.
If they really sat down and did it. And that could speed up if somebody's like, hey, I'm going to block out 2 hours today. We do kitchen and bathrooms next weekend.
Yeah.
And then we send them some books or some samples or something.
So they can already start picking.
So they can already pick some of that. Yeah. And they could write down what they want.
Yeah. I think one thing that us trying to be, that trusted advisor with other builders, I would be, if you walk into another builder's studio and they're like, okay, you need to pick your cabinet pulls, you need to pick this and that, and they don't have the option for you to what we call homeowner source them, I would be hesitant, because one of the things I love about Wausau is I know, like, my parents specifically, they have the same light fixture in basically every room of their house, and then in our lake house, when they redid it, they're like, well, we like this light fixture, let's just put it there.
Absolutely.
And so maybe there's a light fixture that you really like, you know, the way it casts light, and or a fan that you like, whatever, that you want to get from Menards, you can do that.
Yeah.
That's fine. And if a builder is saying, no, you have to get this from me, they may advise you, you know, because I order so much stuff, I can get it cheaper, whatever it may be, but this is your house.
Absolutely. At the end of the day, it comes to that. And we deal with people like that want to do that.
Yeah.
And all we tell them is, okay, great. If you want to go buy it, that's fine.
I need it by this day.
Give it to us this day and give it to us, and we'll put it at the house, or we'll meet you at the house. We'll unload your vehicle. So that way, when our electricians go there, that fixture's already there.
Right.
Or tell us exactly what SKU number it is or what item it is,
and
for
we'll
sure.
Go pick it up.
And we can go pick it up for you, because obviously when people do their financing, all that comes out of one bank account, and they, you know, it's hard for them to get into that. So I mean, either way, it could go either option.
Yeah.
So I know that, like, you have remodeled a home.
Yes.
Like a kitchen. Mm-hmm. So you went through the process. You probably talked to some different, you know, like remodel contractors or whatever. What was something, like, a key takeaway that you had when you ultimately chose a contractor that remodeled your kitchen? What was a key takeaway of how they walked you through the process? Because knowing you, like, things can become overwhelming when there's multiple selections, just as they are for anybody. What was a key takeaway, just overall, not necessarily the selection side of it, that you took away from that remodel? Yeah,
so I think I had it narrowed down to two kind of general contractors, and the reason I went with the one I went with is he listened to me.
Okay.
He listened to what I was wanting and all of that, and so when I went into his design studio, he asked me, he goes, okay, what is the most important choice for you? I kind of thought about it for a second, and I said, well, I know I want white cabinets. And he said, okay, we're not going to pick the face, whatever it's going to look like, but I'm just going to grab a white cabinet door. So then we can start comparing things to that. And then I was like, I think the most important thing after that is my counters. I was very adamant about my countertops, and so we picked my counter, and then from there, he had me just kind of step back, and he went around and he grabbed things that he thought would go with those selections. So then we did, you know, the kitchen floors, and he brought in a few different ones. And he goes, you know, based on what I know about you, and, you know, you're looking at getting a dog, so I think you need this kind of floor and that, and all this. And he listened to me, and ultimately the decision was mine, but he helped me get it narrowed down.
Yeah.
And that's what I've kind of taken that as, that's what I want to do, is listen to people and, you know, okay, you've got kids, we're going to do a durable floor.
Yeah.
You know, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And so just really taking that, and like you said, I get overwhelmed with stuff easily. It's amazing that I love doing this so much, because it can be overwhelming, but
absolutely.
I'm not the one making the final decision, so it's a little bit easier. But but I think, the fact that Ben would listen to me and kind of narrow things down for me.
Give you kind of that, here's 3 options.
Right.
Pick which one you want.
Yeah, and then I think, too, it was really helpful to, he had this kind of shelf thing that we set everything on for the entire house. He had me bring paint samples in and everything, so I put paint samples and carpet and tile and laminate and all the different things, and so I could see the scheme of my house all right in front of me.
Oh, okay.
And stuff, and that was really cool to see, like, yeah, this is all gonna work together.
Yeah.
And stuff, and later on he had me bring in cabinet pulls and put it all back on the board, and I put different cabinet pulls on and stuff like that. So.
Okay. Because I know, like, a lot of people have done that, and I mean, some people, they go through that remodel process and it's just like the same thing. They deal with a contractor that's like, well, here's your 2 options, or here's your 1 option. Like, this is what you get.
Right. That was another thing, is when I walked in his studio, you know, there's 50 flooring options. When I walked in the other contractor studio, she gave me 2.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it's a little bit different for us. We don't have all of our samples here, but we have the books and stuff. We just don't have the space to hold every sample of every faucet and all of that. But yeah, that was really nice.
Yeah, that makes sense. And the nice thing, I mean, with selections, like there's so many different selections, you know, even looking at like windows, like obviously you can kind of see what the window is. You can tell the different styles.
Right.
But then it goes even to like flooring. Like we don't have all the flooring samples, but the nice thing is you know, like one of the subcontractors that we work with for flooring is right next door.
Right.
So we can take your cabinets, your
absolutely, we can take all that
samples,
stuff over.
all that over there. And if you want to change it, like, oh wait, I want this flooring now, but I want a different countertop, we can run over and grab whatever we need.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Yeah.
Versus having to give somebody like, hey, here you go. Here's your 3 samples of here's your cabinets and your countertops you picked. Now go to your flooring person to then have them tell us what you want.
Right.
And then you have to bring the samples back.
Right.
Like we're taking care of all that.
Yep.
I'm trying to think what else like comes up during that process that people like are either interested, like not interested, but intrigued about, or like I think, something else that's important.
Yeah, I think one thing is at this point in the process, usually we've got a general idea of where you want to be price-wise.
Yep.
And so countertops, for example, I laugh because one of our countertop suppliers came in when they were setting up their display, and he brought over to my desk these 2 samples of countertop, and they look pretty much identical. You know, a little bit of variation in them and stuff like that, but they're fairly white counters. And he looked at me and said, "What do you think the price difference is here?" And I said, "I don't know. One's probably a little bit more. That one, you know, is a little more pure white, so it's probably a little bit more expensive." And he goes, "This one is 4 times more expensive." So I will know, you know, okay, you want solid surface counters, but we've got the most expensive, but we've also got middle of the road. And even, I mean, we've got laminate countertops and anything like that too, but I'll know, okay, this is kind of what you're going with as far as budget. And that home selection guide too, as we're filling that out and stuff, I'll be making mental notes and stuff of, you know, you're gonna spend more money. You want to spend more money on your counters? Okay, great. We're gonna look at maybe some more cost-effective bathroom fixtures, or whatever it may be. Because maybe, you know, you do a lot of cooking, so your kitchen is most important, but a faucet in a kid's bathroom isn't the end of the world.
Yeah.
It's also, you know, down the line when money's not, you're not making this huge purchase, you can always replace a kitchen faucet. It's not that easy to replace kitchen countertops.
Absolutely.
So,
or kitchen cabinets.
Yeah, that too. So just making notes of, a lot of people get concerned of like, how am I going to stay in budget, like, and all that. And that's what I'm here for, is to help make sure you stay in the area we want to do. Because once we confirm all those selections, we're going to give you kind of a rough price of this is, you know, we gave you that kind of ballpark price. This is about where we're going to be. You know, I'm not going to give you a firm price or anything like that, but based on your selections and kind of what I'm thinking, this is roughly where we're going to be.
So I know, like, talking about price, I'm glad you led into that, because like some builders, you get a countertop, a cabinet allowance, you get all these different allowances.
Right.
So then you walk in thinking, you know, I got this much money to spend type of deal. How is the Wausau process different in that aspect of it? Because I mean, obviously, like if I pick this fixture, it's $50. If I pick this one, it's $300. Like, are we going through like pennies on that day? Like,
I mean, we're getting pretty close to that. The difference is, before we ever tell you what the price of your home is going to be, you will have made all those selections. So we don't say, you know, we're gonna say you've got X for a cabinet allowance, and this is what the total price of your house is gonna be, because you could use up that entire cabinet allowance and the price of your home is gonna change. And so we're gonna have all those things selected before you ever sign on the dotted line. And after this point, really, you know, once you sign that contract, it kind of makes the rest of the process, you just get to sit back.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be under this pressure of, you know, your builder's calling you and saying, hey, you haven't made your cabinet selection and I need cabinets to be ordered this week because my guy's coming to install them. in 2 weeks or whatever it may be.
And that house is halfway done. You're thinking you're spending $350,000. Now you just picked
right
$10,000 over your cabinet allowance. Now your house is $360,000.
Yeah, and so you've got all those things selected, and so it's during just the selection time, I'm not going to tell you down to the penny exactly what things are. That'll come at a later date. That'll come before you sign anything.
Yeah, really with the selections, I mean, it's giving people options.
Absolutely.
So if somebody wanted to, I mean, it's hard because it depends on the pricing at the time. And so when we talk about prices, like if somebody's looking at vinyl siding versus like smart side, we kind of have an idea what the price difference is.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like if somebody's looking at like this option versus this option, when we send that, because once somebody gets all their selections, we then send that to Wausau to finish quoting out all their stuff that they're providing us. So it's hard. We don't necessarily know like each fixture kind of has this cost to it. We have a general idea.
Yeah.
But then prices fluctuate and everything. So if somebody has like just a difference in, I would say like I said, this cabinet versus this cabinet, we know. But if there's a minor variation of this cabinet versus this cabinet,
right.
So I mean, we can have a general idea once that's kind of done.
Yeah.
But ultimately, after selections are done, then we kind of move into the second building.
Second step.
Yeah. Which is the next part would be the quote price.
Yeah. Firm price.
Yeah. The second step of Wausau's 3-step building process is firm price. But after somebody gets all the selections confirmed and we go through all that process, then we can move into the next side and start getting closer to that firm price and that contract when people know exactly what their house is going to cost.
Yeah.
So what else should we add?
I think we've covered it.
I think we've covered it. Out of the Your Way building block, the only thing we hadn't really touched on yet is financial commitment.
Yep.
But we're going to get to that in the next couple weeks.
Yep.
So it'll be fun to start talking about some of the stuff that you like to call it as the next touch points that you think are fun.
Yes.
And that just every time we mention them, and you're just like, ooh, fun.
Yes.
So our next podcast, we're going to talk about like the actual
what it means to have a firm price.
Yeah, and kind of start laying the groundwork of what the next podcast after that will be.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about firm price and how our touch points underneath that go along with it, and maybe talk about the first one, which will be quote price.
Yeah.
So I think that about covers it for this week's podcast.
I think it does.
Well, I'll say join us next time on Let's Build
with Ellen
and Dustin. Thanks for listening to today's podcast, Let's Build with Ellen and Dustin. This podcast is brought to you by Wausau Homes Waverly. Located in Waverly, Iowa, a panelized custom home builder, building a house your way with a firm price and on time. Be sure to check us out online or on Facebook, Wausau Homes Waverly, or wausauhomes.com. And be sure to check out our next podcast on your favorite podcast platform, however you found this podcast. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you on the next podcast.